Okay. Be'ezrat Hashem. So now we continue the Pirush of the Malbim on how Shlomo HaMelech defines HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the optic of the Nefesh, right? The optic of the Neshama. Now we're in Pasuk Yud Dalet. We spoke about the Lehanim, right? We spoke about the cheeks. We spoke about the Siftotav, Shoshanim, right? We spoke about the lips. Nachon? Now we're going to continue Yadav Gelile Zahav. Yadav Gelile Zahav Memulaim Batarshish. So his hands are Gelilim, rods of gold, studded by with beryl, the stone. It's a precious stone. Me'av Eshet Shen, his belly is a tablet of ivory. Me'ullefet Sapirim, that is adorned, right? Studs with sapphires. So after we've discussed the revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu onto the creation, now comes Yadav, is the interaction of HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the creation, right? Until now, there was a revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on creation with a system that allows humanity to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu up to a certain level. Yadav is a new level that addresses the interaction of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in creation. I think that's where we stopped, correct? I believe so. So the Yadayim, says the Malbim, represents the action, represents the proactivity. Gelile Zahav, his actions are pure and they are made of gold. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu interacts with a person, a glil is a roll, right? It's a lot of gold that is, again, very unclear or not so easy to understand, but they are pure. There is no wickedness. There is no bad. There is nothing wrong or bad for an individual that understands that Kadosh Baruch Hu interaction with the creation is an interaction of love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Memulaim batarshish, right? They are filled with beryl. So he says this is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu put in place the system. He put angels. He puts the higher stars and asters and galaxies, and then under it more stars, more angels. He put a whole system in place that has two ways of operating. Says there might be one way is the static, the systematic way. Okay. And then when HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to change something or needs to empower something or needs to redirect something, kiviyachol, right? He will use the malachim if it's in a lower world, or the ofanim it's in a higher world. The ofanim both are different types of angels, right? And then you have the hayot hakodesh, which is the ruach. The hayot is like the ruach of the Ofanim. Okay. In any sense, what the Malbim is trying to tell us is that Akadosh Baruch Hu put a system, a very intricate, very complex system in place to allow agility, to allow maneuver, and to make it challenging to a extent and desirable for the people to understand how he behaves with us. Me'av, his belly, this is the Ratzon. He says, when a person desires something, wants something, or he has an emotion, he feels it right away in his belly. You know, it's called the gut feeling. The gut feeling. This is what the Shlomo HaMelech is referring to when he says, Me'av Aish El Shen. And he says the Malbim.
I'll leave it. Yeah, it's not like this. Sure? Yeah.
Says the Malbim, it's in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the gut feeling of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mercy and forgiveness. That's how he feels when somebody lo alenu does something to upset the system, to upset HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Or he might react with judgment. He might react with judgment, but in his gut he feels mercy and compassion. And says the Malbim something very interesting. He says that same compassion, it's very important to understand that same compassion that HaKadosh Baruch Hu feels, the same hachamim, the same chemla that he feels when he needs to act based on with din, is the rachamim and the chemla that HaKadosh Baruch Hu felt when he gave humanity and Am Yisrael the Torah. Are you guys hearing? Okay. So the Torah, if you will, is a revelation of that rachamim and that chemla, of that mercifulness and that kindness. It's an expression. That's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu expresses this side of him. But that's the side also that is awoken when Midat Adin needs to also take place, when there's a tikkun that needs to happen. So in a sense, the Torah, says the Malbim, comes as a point of reference as to how HaKadosh Baruch Hu will implement in the world of physicality, of rules and regulation, this definition of Rahamim. And it's called the Torah. So when a person connects to the Torah, when a person learns the Torah, he connects to the Rahamim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And in itself, it's a version of Din, if the Din needs to come. Because the Din is applied based on the Torah's rules and regulations. So when a person takes upon himself the Torah, when a person connects to the Torah, Kivyachol, he is basically auto-judging himself. He is inside a system that basically protects him from any outside judgment or outside influence. This is the koach and the bracha of the Torah. And he says the Torah and this me'av, this gut feeling, right? Is this belly is a tablet of ivory. He says the ivory is very interesting. The ivory, you see it as one block. You see it as one piece. But in reality, it's a growing process of calcium. He said, or calcium, whatever it is, the ivory is. He says it's little bits of that, layers and layers and layers of that ivory that sticks together, that makes it, at the end, a piece of ivory. It's not one thing. It's a lot of little layers that stick together. He says, this is the Torah. The Torah is not one element. The Torah is made of millions of layers. And it has on it, it's orned with all these sapphires. He says the sapphire gives you when you cut a window in the sapphire, you can see through perfectly. And it gives you an ability to see things on a much clearer level, he says, through the sapphire. So he says, this is the Torah. The Torah is a combination of millions of layers, of millions of hidushim, with the ability to see through the Torah much clearer through these hidushim that are sapphire to you, through these hidushim that are beautiful to you, that shine to you. Good? I'm trying. Okay. Next pasuk. Shokav amud eshesh miyusadim al adnefaz. So his legs are like marble pillars of marble, that are set in sockets of fine gold. Mar'eu kalevanon bahur ka'al chazim. Right? And he is majestic like the Lebanon, and beautiful, bahur, and stately and strong and fresh like the cedars. Says the Malbim at that point, we are entering one more layer. We are entering one more layer. So we went from his will to reveal, to his interaction, to his hashgacha, to his interaction, all the way to his connection, which is the Torah. Now we go to another level. Shokav amud eshesh. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not only does he connect, not only that he reveals himself, but you can actually feel him. You can actually feel him. And this is Shokav. His legs, they are set in those sockets of gold, meaning he is implanted in creation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu went down all the way into the socket, into the lowest level of creation. And he says the Malbim, from the lowest place of creation all the way to his will to create, there is a fine thread, that a person can hold on to and rise, but it's also that thread that HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts together or created for him to come down all the way to the lowest level of creation. And this, says the Malbim, even the lowest is gold, right? The sockets are made al-adnepaz, the sockets, what holds the pillar, right? Which is, if you will, buried, right? The socket that holds the pillar, that socket is also made of paz, it's also made of pure gold. A person that is in the lowest level can see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the purity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He can see the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He can see the love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu exactly the same way, because it's the same gold, right? A person will see the head of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the crown of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is also gold. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it in a way that you don't need to be on an extraordinary level to see him. You can see the gold of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his purity, his love, his hashgacha, everything, at every single layer or level that you're at. It all depends on whether or not you are holding that thread connecting him to the lowest level of creation or not. And then, says the Malbim, Shlomo HaMelech summarizes HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mar'ehu ka'levanon bachur ka'arazim. He says, in Lebanon, you have a lot of trees. You have there's a lot of netaim. You have a lot of plants, a tremendous amount of plants. Countless. And this is what gives the beauty of Lebanon. It's this very and this dense growth of all these different beautiful flowers and trees. It says this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has many ways, and he's very rich in the ways he shows himself. It's not like a statue. It's not like a chas v'shalom, or like a dictatorship that you have to follow. HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows himself in countless variants of colors, to give each and every individual the opportunity to connect to him, no matter what the situation is. And this, Shlomo HaMelech puts forward to show the love HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for humanity and for Am Yisrael. That this entire creation is only for us to reveal him, only for us to connect to him. And there is 3 pillars to it, he says. The will, before the will, you have the ability to do something. You have to have the wisdom to know how to do it. And then you have to have the willpower to do it. He says a person, individual, in order to accomplish something, needs these 3 elements: the ability, the wisdom, and the willpower. And he says all 3, HaKadosh Baruch Hu showers upon creation a tremendous amount of abundance of each. He says like this: Bachur ka'arazim, fresh, right? Fresh, young, like the cedar the cedar tree. This is the tallest tree. He says this is the ability, this is the ability to do things. When you're fresh, you're strong. When you're young, you have the ability to do whatever you want. Nothing can stop you. You have no fears, you have no limitations. HaKadosh Baruch Hu showers upon the world an abundance of ability for everyone to tap in and take. And then the pasuk Tetzain. Hiko mamtakim, his chech, his palate is sweet, right? His palate, his mouth is delicious, is sweet. He says, what do you use the mouth for? For divrei Torah. He says this is the chokhmah. The word, the mouth brings out the thoughts, the work of your chokhmah, the knowledge. He says HaKadosh Baruch Hu showers an endless and limitless amount of knowledge for everybody to tap in and connect to the knowledge that he needs when he does something. Kulo mahamadim, he is full of love. He is delightful. He says this is the ratzon. When you love something, when you care for something, it triggers your willpower. If you don't like something, you will not do it. And if you do it, you're not going to do it properly. HaKadosh Baruch Hu showers love for people to be able to find the willpower in them to be able to continue their journey. So here the Malbim reveals something amazing, okay? Something extraordinary that we need to really infuse in our and engrave in our essence. In order for me to be successful in my journey, I need the ability to do something. I need the wisdom to know how to do it, and the willpower to complete it and engage with it. Where do I get all this? Says the Malbim, Shlomo HaMelech, he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings to the world. Okay, he says the freshness, the strength, the ability, the gevurah, right? The gevurah comes through nature. Ka'arazim comes through nature. A person that sees the power of nature, or sees how HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts, we put this nature around him, he will find that power. He will find that ability. It's the space. It's to understand, to look around you, to look what are the opportunities, how to interact with with nature, right? The space, the environment, the interaction. This is the ability. Nobody is stuck and cannot perform. You just have to open your eyes to the potential that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends you. That's the ability. Wisdom, it's the Torah. You learn Torah, you will always understand what you need to do. The well of wisdom, of Chokhmah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to us is abundant and endless. With the Chokhmah Torah, you can apply it in your own life and understand how to perfect and be successful in your journey. You want the willpower. This is the love. This is the love. He says the more you are in love with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the more you want to do things, and the more you desire to do things, I mean, this is very clear, right? You see Gedolei Olam, Talmidei Chachamim, that are in love with the Torah. It doesn't matter how tired they are or how weak they are. They keep on learning. They keep on doing mitzvot, right? When you love something, you do it, no matter what. You're unstoppable. Says the Malbim. Well, you can love food. It's one thing. You can love tennis is another thing. You can love whatever it is. Clothes is another thing. But that's specific. If you love HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have the willpower. You tap into the source of love. So you tap into the source of the willpower that allows you to find this willpower and desire in every aspect of your life. Says Shlomo HaMelech, Ze dodi veze re'i benot Yerushalayim. Ze dodi said, this is my beloved. He says, if you want to understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is who I'm looking for. This is what I live for. For this revelation that I need to be able to tap into and connect. And he is mine. We are one. Says the Malbim, says Shlomo HaMelech, I am cut from the same cloth. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me a bit of himself. And I am not complete without him, and he's not complete without me. Kivyachol. Shlomo HaMelech, the Neshama, says, I can only be one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I feel complete once we will be together and reunited. So until I am not connected, I will never be complete. Which is also extremely important. People feel satisfied. You can feel satisfied, but you will not be complete. To be complete, says Shlomo HaMelech, is to be one with that infrastructure that we just discussed. One with this revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's how we finish Be'ezrat Hashem, the 5th Perek. And says the Malbim, unfortunately, there will not be any response to Shlomo HaMelech.
Rav, I have a question.
And until the end, I'm sorry, let me with this I finish.
Sorry.
Until the end, that's it. Now we're entering. Now we're going to be entering Bli Neder, the next, right? The next Shir, yeah, the next Nevuah, right? The fifth Nevuah, which will be the Nevuah of the body and the Neshama agreeing to leave this world and connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Basically, from Perek Vav until the end of Shir HaShirim is going to be the emotional, spiritual, and physical journey of the period of death of Shlomo HaMelech. So after all this, right, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will still not reveal himself to the liking of Shlomo HaMelech. And moving forward is going to be the final journey of Shlomo HaMelech before HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes him from this world. Yes, sorry.
You mentioned before about Chokhmah being Torah, that wisdom is Torah. Is wisdom just the ability to make the right choices?
No, it's the information you need to have in order to be able to make the right choices. It's like a compass. right? You need all the information to be able to analyze it properly and see where you're heading and where you need to go.
But how do you think about, let's say, two people who are studying Torah in the same amount, but one is far wiser than the other person? What makes that be the case?
Well, that wiser has nothing to do with it. Obviously people are, everybody's different. People are wiser, people are smarter, people are quicker, people are better memory. Yeah, but the beauty of the Torah, or the purpose of the Torah, is not only to learn it, is to be able to apply it in your own mundane life, right? So some people will have an easier way than others, right? But for each individual, the awe of the Torah on that specific person is a tremendous upscale and upgrade than if he didn't have it, right? So in terms of chavrutot and interaction, yes, definitely. In terms of implementation, definitely. One may implement it faster than the other. But for that same person to have it versus not having it, it's walking in the dark and walking with the lights on.
So when we say Shlomo was Chacham Mikol Adam, that he was the wisest of all men, what exactly does that mean?
That means that he was able to dive into the deepest nuances and the finest lessons the Torah can teach a man, okay, on the broadest scale possible.
So he was basically able to extract the deepest levels of the Torah of anyone ever?
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. So with this, Be'ezrat Hashem, like I said, we finished the fourth nevuah, and now the rest of Shir HaShirim will be quite dramatic to a sense. It's the body that agrees now to the neshama to leave this to live this world. And there's a tremendous knowledge. There's a lot that we're going to be seeing Be'ezrat Hashem about Teshuvah, about the importance of the Olam Haba versus this world, and the challenges a person faces with his body, and when he introspects himself, knowing that he's about to go and transit to the Olam Haba.
Beautiful, Rav. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rav.
Be'ahava. It's a short one, but okay, we finish. So we start fresh. Next parak.
Okay, Rav.
Thank you so much, Rav.
Nesiat tova.
Have a beautiful day.
You too, guys. You too. Love you.